Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Lewinter, licensed acupuncturist at Metro Acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here with my lovely co-host and mom and acupuncture partner, Dr. Andrea Lewinter. Mom, how are you doing today?
How are you doing?
Doing great. You excited about today's topic?
I am excited about today's topic. It's going to be a fun topic about toe.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun topic, and we're going to talk a little bit. You mentioned about toe. I'm going to share a personal story about how I broke a toe, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. And also, we're going to talk about why is it that acupuncture can provide quick pain relief, and also why it sometimes does. So let's get into it. It was several years ago. I can't remember to say maybe 15 years ago. I was at a water park in Florida with a friend, and that friend is an acupuncturist. And we were having a great time, kind of midway through the day, and we are excited to go on the next ride. And I was so excited about it. I wasn't paying attention, and halfway up these stairs, my toe hit a wall and I heard a snap. And I knew immediately that I something good did not happen. And I continued up the stairs and was still excited, but less. And then completed the ride, and it was wonderful. And we got to the bottom of the ride. I said to my friend John, I said, John, I think I broke my toe. John is not only an acupuncturist, but someone who is very prepared. And he knows the value of acupuncture so much that he travels with needles. And he had some needles with him. So we went to our lockers and he grabbed some needles and we sat down at a place. And at that point, you could see that there was some bruising because of the broken bone and some swelling and a significant amount of pain. I really could barely walk. So I was thinking to myself, this day is over. And I felt bad because the day was going to be over, not only for me, but for my friends that were there. And because I wasn't paying attention and now I had a broken toe. But John did some needles. And to tell you the truth, I may have even been doubtful about it. Forget how helpful this is. And he put some needles in, and everyone just relaxed and had a good time for about 20, 30 minutes. And then the needles were taken out, and the pain was gone.
Wow. Wow.
And this is the important part. My toe was still broken. Okay. There was,
That's right.
this isn't a story about some magical trick. We're going to
Healing.
get into what was happening, but the pain was gone. I was able to continue through the day pain free. It was a little bit more gentle, maybe not walking as much, but we didn't have to go home early and I wasn't in pain. I continued to do acupuncture on a regular basis and my toe has healed without any issues. So I love that we have a medicine at our fingertips that can provide quick pain relief. I'm not the only one who has had this experience. In fact, James Reston, who was a columnist for the New York Times and also at one point one of the editors for the New York Times, went to China in 1971 and he was in Beijing and he had an appendicitis and he had his appendix removed surgically and postoperatively he was in pain. And he described the experience of the acupuncture treatment that he was given in the hospital to relieve his pain as almost miraculous. A needle was put around his elbow and below his knee. As acupuncture, we can assume what those points are, but it's not important. And they weren't put in his abdomen. And within minutes after doing acupuncture and moxibustion, a feeling of total relief came upon him. So I think to myself, how great it would be to have more acupuncturists working in emergency rooms. There are some throughout the United States, but I think not enough. how great would it be to have acupuncturists in urgent care clinics? Because from your own experience, we can do auricular acupuncture to be able to relieve pain. So to have something that can provide pain relief, and when there's pain relief, not only does that have the patient feel happy, but friends and loved ones can feel happy. So some acupuncturists maybe gravitate towards internal medicine conditions or helping people over a long period of time. And as acupuncturists, our doors open to really whomever would like to give us a call, and they ask us if we think we can help them. And I always give them an answer based on my professional experience and as my personal experience. We're not able to help everyone, but some people come in who are wanting help with a acute problem, and some people have a chronic problem. I enjoy helping anyone, but to be able to give patients that quick relief is something that really brings me joy because it's brought me personal joy. So I just wanted to open that conversation up by way of sharing the story at the water park and remind everyone of James Reston's story because he published his experience on the front page of the New York Times in 1971, and that ignited the interest in acupuncture in the United States. So it was a very momentous occasion.
Yes, yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that story because I remember that story. I remember that happening. So today in China, they will use electroacupuncture as anesthesia for many surgeries. Now, that's not exclusively using that, but as a supplement, so they have to use less of a chemical anesthesia as well. So, significantly used in China in hospitals and clinics. And so it's something that really works, and we forget it really does work.
So a little bit of an explanation as to when we say it works, what is working? Well, the nervous system responds quickly to the stimulation of the needles at acupuncture points. And the stimulation activates sensory nerves that send signals to the spinal cord and brain, prompting the release of natural painkillers and endorphins. Acupuncture may also activate a process known as gate control. The gate control theory suggests that your spinal cord acts like a gate for pain signals. When you get hurt, pain signals try to travel from your body to your brain. But if you rub or press another spot, like an acupuncture point, it sends a non painful signal to the same area of the spinal cord. These non painful signals can close the gate and block some of the pain from reaching your brain so you feel less pain. Acupuncture can also reduce local inflammation and relax tight muscles. And many acupuncture points share nerve pathways with common areas of pain. Stimulating points along these pathways can create a fast, reflexive response that helps the body shift out of pain. That said, now, why doesn't acupuncture work for everyone? Acupuncture may not relieve pain for everyone because each body responds differently. Factors like the severity of pain, the duration of pain, how sensitized the nervous system has become, or the underlying cause of pain can all affect the results. We are almost all the same, but we are slightly different. And those slight differences can affect how one responds to acupuncture. There's no medicine that I can think of that can help every single patient. Some
That's
people
true.
may have an allergic reaction, even though it's the right medicine for that patient, they may have an allergic reaction to it. So there's not one medicine that helps all patients, and not everybody responds to the same medicines the same way. But to know that there is a medicine, acupuncture, that can provide quick pain relief, I think is very important. So we just continue to want to get the word out that if you're in pain, try acupuncture as one of the first things to do to get yourself pain relief for most conditions.
From
Most conditions. If you're
and
experiencing, yeah, if you're experiencing pain in your chest where you feel like an elephant is on top of it, probably
911.
want to go to for acupuncture. If you're experiencing blinding pain. So this isn't an extreme thing, but maybe if we're trying to do some pull-ups and you're now feeling a little stiffness in your neck, perhaps we can do a little acupuncture, acupressure. And I wanted to also talk about that because we last time we talked about the point on the hand to help relieve neck pain. And the example that I was giving of John doing the acupuncture treatment, I don't believe I mentioned, but he did a treatment that is called surround the dragon being the area of injury or the area where there's pain. And so he surrounded that area where I had pain. And so sometimes we work locally in the area where there is pain, and sometimes we work distally, maybe the opposite end of the limb or the opposite side and opposite limb. So there can be a lot of decision making and finesse around the treatment that we give.
The example you gave earlier is he had a point done on his elbow and one on his knee, but we were focusing on the pain in the abdomen, the abdominal lower abdominal area. So that's an example of working distally as opposed to doing the surround the dragon where the pain actually is. Yeah.
This was a part 2 of last time. I wanted to share this fun story of the benefit of traveling with an acupuncturist. I love to travel. If there's anyone watching this who wants to take me on the road, whether it be a rock star or a professional athlete, or maybe some billionaire who just needs acupuncture as they're circling the planet all the time, I'm open. I'm
Call him.
what my friend John taught me is you don't want to be without acupuncture needles. And that is exactly why I got into this medicine, is because I thought, wow, I can have something that can very quickly help me feel better and help my friends and family feel better. And I've learned as a professional acupuncturist, it doesn't have to be just my friends and family. I can get the word out. So I think that this world is a better place when we are experiencing less pain. Unfortunately, pain is a part of life, but it doesn't have to stay around forever.
Yes, it's so true, Mark. Pain changes the way we are, how we live our life. And if we can alleviate that, even if we can alleviate some of it, so that people can re-engage with the things that they love and family and friends. And so it's important. It really is important to be able to, if it's chronic pain, to be able to manage it. If it's acute pain, to be able to get some relief immediately.
In our acupuncture practice works by appointment, but it's my understanding that in some countries, I think in South Korea, there are some acupuncturists who just they open their doors at a certain time, and whomever is going to come in that day comes in that day. And I do like that as far as this being a family specialty medicine where, oh, someone last night had a stomach ache and we need to help them feel better, or yesterday someone picked up something heavy and now they're hurting, or someone has been vomiting all night and we want to help them feel better, or they feel like they're coming down with a cold. So a lot of the things that fall under the category of family medicine, there's a good chance that acupuncture can help, even if it's just a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that someone in our culture, you might, oh, I'm going to wait a few days before I go to see an acupuncturist. It's been my personal experience and professional experience that if I can see someone sooner, the results are better.
Sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I often say it's never too late, but sooner is better than later.
That was just a little bit of a story time, a little bit about how acupuncture works, why it sometimes doesn't work. We hate that, but it is true. And if you're experiencing pain and you're in the Atlanta area, certainly we'd be glad to see you. We're Metro Acupuncture at our website, metroacupuncture.com. You can schedule appointments online, and we look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you for your listening.
Thank you.